Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is MMADraft.com. I am Frank Trigg in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Don Best Studios, and there in Macau, China, at 4 in the morning, is Urijah Faber giving us a call. Hey, Uriah, how you doing, bud?
Doing good. Just hanging out here in Macau. This place is crazy. For those who don't know, it's like Las Vegas in the other side of the world, and there's a lot of people out here losing their money right now. Not me.
They said that Macau actually makes 5 times the amount of money that Las Vegas does, and it's just the Strip. So it's amazing how much the Asian culture loves to waste money on bad bets.
Yeah, I agree.
Now it's 4 in the morning. Were you already up because of jet lag, or did we just wake you up, or have you not gone to bed because you've been out all night?
No, I went to bed. I just got up. You know, I don't have much to do out here, so it's nice to have something on my schedule. So I woke up. I'm ready to do this interview, talk to these amateurs out here, and talk to yourself, one of my good buddies, and let's figure this thing out.
I appreciate you separating me from the amateurs. I thought you meant that I was an amateur. Like, what? Come on, man. You've been fighting since 2003, so you're coming up. This is about your 10th year, your 9th year anniversary is coming up here next month. You wrestle at UC Davis. Everybody knows your story. You've been one of the most popular guys in MMA, whether you won or when you lost. Like, your record doesn't mean anything to the fans. You've kind of always been in the game, even when you weren't in the game. You know, when you were fighting at WEC and got beat a couple times, when WEC came over and got absorbed by the UFC. You've had your ups and downs, but you've never really lost your fan base. You've kind of always been that even-keeled guy that never had that oh, the fans are going to hate me this week, but I'll be back next week and they'll love me again. They've always loved you no matter what. How did you get to that kind of space? Like, why is that the game for the California kid?
You know, I like to say I'm just lucky, but I think it's more than that. I think that just being able to be myself, I've been a person that has been following my passion. It's one of the rare people in this world that really gets to follow their passion, make a living out of it, and I think it kind of comes off in how I carry myself. You know, I'm not ever trying to put on a show as far as personality goes. I just am who I am, and some people do that and the fans love them, and some people do that and the fans don't love them. And I've just been a lucky guy in that respect, and treating people like equals and doing what I love.
You know, and when you first came out, you obviously were very, very successful very, very early in your career. You didn't have that learning curve that a lot of other wrestlers have. You had a very extensive amateur wrestling career, and that led you into MMA. Now, why did you make the choice to jump from wrestling and MMA, and why and how did the amateur career kind of make that step into and get you ready for your long pro career?
That's a good question, and the funny thing is I feel like I got into wrestling, and I got kind of a late start into wrestling compared to some of these guys that I know, like a Chad Mendez and a Lance Palmer, 2 guys that were on my team who were national finalists and very, very decorated wrestlers. I got kind of a late start, and I think the reason I started wrestling was just because it was so similar to a fight. You know, I always considered myself kind of a tough guy, even though I didn't get in street fights or anything like that. But I wanted to challenge myself, and wrestling was a way for me to have some hand-to-hand combat, to kind of simulate a fight, because my mom would never let me fight because she was a great mom, and you know, get kind of that part of my instincts out of the way.
Now, you have helped develop this website, MMA Draft. Why is there such a big need now to fill with the amateur game of MMA Draft? Like, why is there such a big need to have a website like MMA Draft right now?
There's a lot of different reasons, and I think the first and foremost is to help the development of this sport. You know as well as I do that this sport is so crazy young compared to the other sports in our in our nation and in our world. Sports like football, baseball, basketball, the guys that are the top competitors in the world as amateurs eventually have a big opportunity waiting for them. Like, if you look at the top football players or basketball players or baseball players in college, if they're decorated and have been putting their lives into this sport and have had success, by the time they're ready to make that transition into the professional world, there's opportunities waiting for them. There's a nugget of cash, there's management, there's sponsorships, there's an established kind of path that you've taken and a reward at the end. And we don't really have that yet. I mean, I remember when I first started in this sport, it was kind of like wash the dishes, mowing lawns, working odd jobs in addition to training my butt off. I mean, I was able to train with some of the top guys in the world, and there's a huge gap between someone who's getting their foot in the door and somebody that was, you know, at the top level in the UFC as far as the financial side goes. And I'd like to be able to make the awareness out there for these little kids that are dedicating their lives to the sport from a young age to right before they turn pro. I would like people to know who they are, like the next LeBron James, the next Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods. I want them to have a history and for people to understand that it hasn't been something they just turned on. There was years and years and years of hard work. Like, you know, when I first started wrestling, it was 7th and 8th grade. I was going to get my butt kicked, and there's a strong learning curve, and I had to put in a lot of hours. You know, there wasn't a reward at the end of that necessarily right away. I feel like that's going to start to happen in this sport. This website's going to help create that for kids.
Now, what else is going to happen on the website? Just besides, you know, getting kids known and seeing the amateurs out there, and people are going to be able to go, oh, look, that guy's a great amateur career. What's going to help the kids? Are they going to be able to talk to other coaches, talk to other athletes like us? Are they going to be able to find training plans and training regimens? Like, what else is going to be on the website?
Yeah, what we're going to do is have a lot of different aspects on the website. MMADraft.tv, which you're doing right now, is an opportunity for kids not only to get highlighted, like we're going to take a look at Angelo Trevino, who's a top up-and-comer from Team Alpha Male, who's been training with us for almost 7 years as a young adult. You know, and a kid before that, you know, before he was even in his teens, he was training with our team. I think that highlighting guys like that is one thing, but the other thing is creating a spot where someone who is just getting into the sport can look at a kid like that and say, hey, how come this kid's ranked top in the world? What has he gone through? They can click on his profile and say, oh, look, he trains at this gym. He's competed in wrestling. He's competed in jiu-jitsu. He went to this tournament. He went to this camp. And we can kind of build a blueprint for how the kids that want to get in and want to excel and want to be recognized to, you know, follow in the footpaths. Not only that is that we're going to create tools for them to succeed. We have techniques on there that they can click on and learn about. They can hear some of the stories of the professionals out there. They can get a kind of a list of tournaments that are coming up that are important, tournaments that aren't such as important. You know, there's going to be beginning tournaments, there's going to be established tournaments, there's going to be camps. This is going to provide awareness for this amateur world to say, okay, what's the easiest and fastest way for me to make a name for myself, and what do I have to prepare? Is it something that's so far-fetched that I can never do it, or is there a system? And we know that there is a system.
Right.
You know, not everybody knows that.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Urijah Faber. Thanks for waking up so early in the morning in Macau, China. I really appreciate you coming on here. He's one of the guys that helped build this website, MMADraft.com, that you're watching this show on. Urijah, thank you so much for putting something together for the amateur guys and next generation, because like you said, this sport is very, very young, and we need the amateurs to help propel it to the next series of spaces. So I appreciate you starting this website, and thanks for coming on with us today.
All right, Trigg, thank you for taking such an interest in the future of our sport. Always a true professional, man. We love you.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon.